You already hit the live button?
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. Oh yeah, we're
Hi. Welcome to Therapy of the Absurd. How's everybody doing?
Woo! Doing okay.
Good.
ready to get therapized. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, you guys, guess what I bought?
What'd you buy?
I finished my antibiotics so I can drink. And remember a couple episodes we talked about that can of wine?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was wrong. It's not one, but 2 cans of wine that equal out an entire bottle of wine.
Got it. Woo! The mathematics.
Some ASMR right now, okay?
So is it hammer time now? Hammer time.
Hammer time. Don't pay your taxes.
So how was everybody's week? Anything new? Anything exciting? Anything crazy?
I got an apartment.
Yay!
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I notice the background looks different.
Well, no, I'm still home, but my entire room is a mess because I'm packing because I'm going out of state. But I got an apartment, but it's so weird though because I moved in with my mom temporarily during quarantine, and she refuses to let me leave. Like she is upset. She's like, "Why are you leaving me? Like, just stay here and live with me forever. Like, look, go get pregnant somewhere. I don't care what you do. Just stay here with me, okay? And you don't even have to take care of your baby. I will take care of your baby for you. It's okay. It's all good." Is it just Hispanics that do this? Like, I don't get it. Like, I have a bunch of Hispanic, like, family members that have, like, 10 people in a 1-bedroom apartment. How does that work?
Well, yeah, white people actually celebrate when their kids leave the house. So, oh, good. Finally, honey, they're not around. We don't have to lock them out during special time. That's basically what happens. I don't know. Maybe not all white people.
You know what? Now coming to think of it, how do Hispanics have special time when there's like 10 people in one household and they have 10 people in there?
Well,
like,
it's easier to do.
8.
Well, yeah, it's easier to do in a noisy house. White kids are told to be quiet all the time, and there's only like 2 or 3 of them, and so like it's easier to do if there's a whole bunch of people making noise. I'm just assuming.
I don't want to know. I don't want to think of my family that way.
One of the things that would help out though, people that are like watching, special adult channels on the internet, but you have roommates, is if they let you do like horror mode where it plays scary music in the background so that the noises sound natural. Like no one knows what you're really watching. They just hear like, screaming and fleshy sounds, but they're like, no, it's just they're watching Friday the 13th.
Oh boy.
A screamy and fleshy sound.
Fleshy sounds. Yes.
I mean, maybe that's how scary movies were invented originally. It was in order to go ahead and say this sex appeal is totally acceptable. As long as it has bloods and covers the nipples, it's totally okay.
It's totally okay. Wow. Special time. I learned a new term. I love that. Special time.
I made it up on the spot.
I do. sounds that way. Love that. In the world of Toastmasters, we call it table topics. I had great, like speaking it. I love it. I had a great week. In fact, I had a great day because I was reunited with 2 students that I tutor math, and they both were like so excited because they felt like they knew all the good stuff that they needed to know for school. And there's nothing better than as a teacher to like get it's going to sound so cliche, to get your flowers. Because most of the time it's like you're dropping stuff into a black hole. You have no idea whether this is all going to pan out for them or not. And so teaching these two boys and them coming back and saying, hey, we knew stuff, all the stuff we're doing is easy. And I thought about us because one boy was totally excited. He's like, the new Fortnite came out and it's got Marvel characters. So the fact that a math conversation and a conversation about Fortnite and Marvel characters could happen together, I call it progress. It made my week as a teacher. that's it. And I'm alive and healthy, and that's about and I got to walk again today, so we love it. We love it.
Yay!
All right.
Wait,
Yeah,
is anybody doing exercise during quarantine?
Say that one more time.
Is anybody doing exercise during quarantine?
Now I am.
Amen. Because I that's kind of the struggle that I'm having. Like, just like I need to go to the gym, haven't made it. And like I'm like, you got to do something. And there's this great Bollywood actress. I think her name is Baca. Like I'm actually going to reach out to her to come on this show. She has like the greatest. Because here's what I think. I think Lucifer invented exercise on his way to hell. I think God invented inner thighs to justify the invention of exercise. However, I think dancing is heavenly. And this woman's stuff is totally like dance based. So I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be able to exercise in a dance based environment.
Okay. I'm sorry. But how is twerking heavenly?
Well,
It is.
It is to some, but I'm actually like, I'm not a twerking set. Although it's isolation. So from the days of aerobics and Richard Simmons, twerking is a certain amount of isolation. But I'm all about like, I'm step ball chain. I'm like shimmy, 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 shimmy. And then, we do the whole thing and we do the high clap. So ours is totally Bollywood. They're not twerking in Bollywood. So that's why I kind of like it because they're not twerking.
Okay, hear me out. I think twerking is the United States mating call. Okay.
Okay.
Come on. I mean,
tell me more.
And it just leads into a whole, like, okay.
Working for God.
Twerking for God.
Okay.
Yes.
Will twerk for food.
Right.
Actually, the thing I think is great about twerking is it lets a man know whether or not that lady's going to break his pelvis and whether or not he can handle it. So
that is what isn't it a barometer for that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have to, get some more exercise in now because of something the doctor said. Yeah, I'm over 40, so that happens. But the doctor told me you got to get more exercise. So today, during my lunch break, I actually went on a walk, forgot my mask. And the whole time I'm, trying to forget that I forgot my mask. And, I'm not running into anybody, but I'm just saying someone's going to see me and go, asshole, you're supposed to have a mask. And I go, I'm not one of the assholes. I'm just dumb.
Forgetting the mask, Dan, is a thing. Like, because every day I walk somewhere like to Target, and every time I have to double back. Like, I get halfway down the next block and I got to get a mask. And like you, maybe that was Monday, I was happy. I hit the whole block. I was around the whole block before I realized I was like, you don't have a mask on. So I just walked home, got the mask, and then did another block. But that's a thing. Like, I don't know what that thing is. I decided to put mask in every purse and in every bag so that no matter what happens when I walk out of the house, I have a mask. But that happened to me too.
I wish the people in my apartment building or my neighborhood would put masks on. I don't know if it's a monetary thing, like only poor people wear masks, or is this just like only the wealthy don't wear masks? I don't know, because the people that are coming down from Palos Verdes, most of them aren't even wearing fucking masks.
Yeah.
Like at all. It's like, I can afford a doctor. I don't have to wear a mask. Fuck you.
I do think it's kind of funny. They, if they think it's a hoax, but they don't think trickle down is. So
yes, the coronavirus will trickle to you. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the thing that gets me is just, like I got people in the apartment building where here it's pretty much we're all middle class or some slightly almost middle class, and saw like a couple people of all ages walking around with no mask. I'm like, okay, they're not concerned. Do you love your children? Is grandma staying with you? Do you love grandma too? I don't know.
I don't know. Wait, I mean, what? I haven't seen it yet. I haven't. I've been really lucky. Like, everybody's been really good with their mask here. The only ones are here where my mom lives, but my mom lives in the hood, so. They're partying still. Like, I'm like, I want to be a Karen and call the cops on them for their own good, right? Because I want them to survive. But then again, they're also Hispanic, so I can't rat out my people. I'm sorry. I'm not 69. No,
Like-
okay, I'm
You're
not.
like snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
What is the
How is he still alive? Like, Biggie and Tupac didn't make it, and then this guy totally snitched and then continues to troll people.
because people feel sorry for him for his really bad facial tattoos.
Who are
I
we
think.
talking about?
So,
Buck 65? Who are we talking about?
yeah.
Hashi or what was it? The dude that like,
Toshiba 45.
Toshiba. Ah,
Yeah, Toshiba
okay.
45. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That way we don't get sued.
You mean the guy that sounds like
totally.
the rapper who sounds like he's like the size of a TV?
Eh.
You know? Jeez, man.
Hot off the press over there.
Well, I saw like a video. I think he was at TikTok. He's taking a bath playing with toys. Like, bro, have some class.
It's the new hipster. I mean, what are you going to do? But by the way, Stacy, I don't know if you are Hispanic, you can be a Karen. I think you have to be a Carmen. You know.
All right. Oh.
Someone named Carmen is cursing me out right now. Not my name. Don't start using that way.
I think that's the name of the lead character, isn't it, in West Side Story? I'm pretty sure it's Carmen. If not, it's the
I
one
don't
below
know.
that. That's Carmen.
It is Carmen. It is
Yeah,
Carmen.
because I did do the play, so yeah.
Okay.
The first one I thought was last named Electra, so yeah, it shows you my age too.
Carmen Electra? Is it
Yes.
what?
Now,
Carmen Electra.
Carmen Electra right there, okay.
Pussycat.
Dennis Rodman and Carmen Electra, because only that man could pull a wedding dress.
Pussycat doll, Carmen Electra. So you guys, like, just speaking of live acts, like, has anybody like braved any of the live shows that are happening in the area, like at this time? Because y'all know, like the improv in Irvine, because there's improvs everywhere, right? So the improv in Irvine is actually having drive-in comedy shows. Like, anybody?
Well, on that same token, this is actually something hot off the presses. Actually, there's a movie that Christopher Nolan is supposed to have already had out, but it's been delayed, called Tenet.
Right.
With Denzel Washington's son.
John David.
There you go. Yeah, sorry, my bad. But apparently they don't want to release it in the drive-thrus. So there's a controversy going on right now that is basically nobody knows whether if it's the director Christopher Nolan or if it's Warner Brothers or both that is telling cities that only have drive-thrus, the regular theaters get dibs, so you can't have it unless you're willing to open. But it's like, we can't open. We're not allowed to open. Right? So it's just interesting that you have something like Bill and Ted 3 that comes out tomorrow that is saying limited release in theaters, right? And then VOD, because they want to make money. Who's going to remember? And don't get me wrong, I love Christopher Nolan's movies, but who's going to remember that movie in 6 months if nobody saw it?
Right.
I'll just watch Black Widow and then it'll be like, right? Like, you need to accommodate people with what's going on right now in the pandemic. Show your damn movie. Like, drop the ego and show the fucking movie. I'm sorry. Who am I? But still, I'm a movie fan. I want to see the movie. I'm not going to go out, then come back and get my kid sick with Corona and be like, yeah, man, that was a great movie.
Right.
I also think it's so much easier to fart at a drive-thru because then only my family complains.
That makes sense. Yeah, we get that. So, like, AMC theaters are actually like opening with 15-cent tickets. Like, that's, I think they open, like, they're trying to entice. But I would rather go for, as Dan mentioned, the trap car situation, and be stuck in there than to potentially, be in a theater, Stefan, like you said, and and I think it's interesting because I think it makes it tough for those of us who are creators, who doesn't want your property out in the larger screen, but by the same token, who's trying to risk their life? We're trying to do mail-in voting, all that. So I don't know, but I have to admit, like, I got to ask the question, what was the first thing I was going to do once quarantine was over? And for me, it's like run to a stage to do stand-up. So, I mean, we're all chomping at the bit, right?
I'm
to
desperate for that live feedback, man. I mean, I'm not going to criticize. I'm thankful we have the Zoom or
Mhm.
anything we can do online. I really am. Everyone's a beautiful person for doing it, but that
Mhm.
it's really hard to know if something works if you're and no offense to anybody. This is a statement of love
Right.
and appreciation for everybody. I'm sure everyone's going through a similar thing. You go to a safe space to do some jokes. Those same 10 people are at the same 3 other open mics you do the same day.
Yeah.
How do you know if it works?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just happy there is open mics though. So again, I'm not trying to complain.
Right.
I can understand the frustration that's growing from everybody because you're telling sometimes the same 10 people the same damn joke.
Yeah.
Does it work? Are they laughing or do they feel
Right.
sorry for me? I don't know.
Is it the face? Is it only the face? You
Right.
didn't even make a face.
Right. That's what we're all trying to figure out. But I think so I think we need to do like a field trip. I think we need to try one of these drive-in shows for the improv out in Irvine. Like I think we need to just do, I don't know. What do y'all think? I think we need to do a
I'm down to like
We
even
do a show while we're watching a movie from each of our cars. Like,
no.
no, we can't talk right now. This part's cool.
Right.
Let's look at my chin.
No. Actually do the field trip. Like we should go so that we could we'd be able to share.
Yeah, report back on it.
Report back, like to let everybody know, hey, it kind of works because they had I'm trying to honestly I will say this, they haven't really turned up anybody that I want to see, but but when they do have Ali Sadiq or let's just say the best of all worlds, and we know Dave Chappelle is doing his stuff, out on the farm doing the secret shows, but let's just say they do turn up, what, and so to anybody, what do you do? So let's just say hypothetical. If Dave Chappelle was going to be at the drive-in Irvine Improv, who's going?
Oh no, of course. Okay. On that note, I bought tickets to see Dave Chappelle and Seinfeld for Netflix as a joke. I recently just got the money back for that, and then I bought tickets for Joe Rogan at the Forum, and I just recently got money back for that.
Okay.
Well, you need that money. It's like a savings program. But also on Facebook, there was one of my Facebook friends. He's in the high desert. He was going, "Who wants to hold a live show? Get some musicians together and do a live show. And someone wrote back to him, "Are masks required?" And he put no. And then I had to put a comment. This is why I'm not going to live shows yet, guys. And then I get laughed at by a bunch of people in the high desert, for some reason.
What were you gonna say, Stacy?
Well, Nick just mentioned it. I bought tickets to Stranger Things, the drive-in thing. They're partnered up with Fever Up. Apparently, there was one for Marvelous Miss Maisel. I didn't know about it.
Oh my God, for real?
Tell me, yeah.
That's my show.
I think I paid like $80 for 2 people in a car, and I'm like, all right, okay. I mean, the difference is
how long is the experience?
I don't even know what to expect. Are they going to scare me while I'm in the car? Like, are they going to tell us? By the way, aren't they doing the haunted hayride driving now? Like, isn't that what they're going to do this year?
I think so.
It's a smart thing to scare somebody at the wheel. Like, oh
yeah,
and then they accelerate and then run over the person that decided to scare them. Like, I'm a physical person. If somebody scares me, I will hit you. I will probably hit you with my car if you scare me in the car.
Yeah, someone's getting ran over.
You shouldn't go to. You should not go to Not Scary Farm. It's just not a good plan for you. I could see someone come out and just. Oh no!
I'm sorry, officer. They scared the shit out of me.
But I will say that, right? I will say this. Now, on the other hand, Stacey, I love Marvelous Miss Maisel. The drive-through experience is not necessarily what I want, but I'll go. But I won't lie. I don't know that I would pay that kind of money to see something that I was already watching on TV anyway. Like on the other, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm going to go out there, then I'm going to try to see like, okay, so like comedian Brad Williams, like the kind of, y'all know who Brad Williams is, the short.
I made the joke the other night.
So he did he did a drive-in show on August 22nd. Like if I was a fan, I would go. But like for the Marvelous Miss Maisel, which I watch on TV, I don't know that I would pay money to go. But I do think that this is worth investigation. Honestly, if there's somebody that we want to see. But I love the Marvelous Miss Maisel. I won't lie.
I do too. But apparently all they gave you went to when you went to go see the show in your car was a bag of popcorn that was pink, and somebody just cleaned your windshield during the show. That's all you got.
Oh yeah, no, like no. Rachel Brosnahan is gonna have to put on a mask and come in and shake my hand, like something. We gotta, I'm saying, or either Tony Shalhoub or for that matter Sterling Brown, like whatever. Something we're gonna have to do a little more for $40, $80, than pink popcorn, and because I can do my windshields myself. Like that's okay. I got it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, well, Disney is actually, because the pandemic's still going, they're releasing Mulan on Disney Plus, but you have to pay an extra $30 on top of your subscription. Some people are complaining, but think about it. How much do you pay to go to the movie theater with another person in California? $30.
I'm a girl, nothing.
Okay, well,
is this a new Mulan? Is this
this is the new one with Jet Li.
Still, even so, Dan, but if you, unless again, $30 means that y'all gonna put some of those great chairs in here, some theater, I'm still sitting in my home, and it's here, and with all due respect to Mulan, if I didn't have to pay extra for Hamilton, with honest to God, if someone said you're gonna have to throw an extra 20 on it to see Hamilton, I probably would have done that because it was the Broadway, with Lynn, with Lesley, with Oak Tree, with Dovey, you know what I'm saying? That I would have done.
You got to think about it though. Well, you got to think about it though. Like no one's going to make $200 million movies with streaming money.
Right, but and no one knew. But if I would just put it on the shelf, I would not try to recoup that budget off of a streaming platform and then recoup it based on the subscribers who are already paying. Because the other thing is, to me, that's just, I'm sure that someone in a boardroom somewhere thinks that makes sense, but right now somebody is paying for BET Plus, somebody is paying for Disney Plus, Netflix. A lot of us are paying for HBO Max. We're already, some people Apple TV. Netflix, some of us are Amazon Prime, so even though that's embedded in our Prime, like Hulu, like somewhere in there, someone's got to have enough foresight to say that if we're not going to all create one big plus sign with all of these, I don't think it's fair, because we're all easily spending 30 or 40 bucks a month on streaming platforms, and so
they turned it into the cable program.
Well, say that again.
They turned it into the same thing cable was doing to all of us.
Right, and I don't do it with cable. Me and cable do not get along for that very reason.
So I wanted to interject really quick. So basically, AMC and the theater, I don't know if you'd call it Film or Theater Association, the club that they have going for all the theaters that communicate with the studios, they were very upset at Universal for releasing Trolls 2. The thing is that people have to understand, by doing that, the studio got about 98 to over $100+ million. Okay. They needed the money. Some people still got to be paid, right?
Right.
So I understand why they're doing it, but I agree with you on this too, Dana. If we're already paying for your service, then either two things have to happen. You're either giving us a discount because you already have our loyalty, right? Number one, or number two, just put it on VOD and make it cheaper, right?
Right. Right. I think that's the better option, because then the people who want to see it will do it, and you can do it. And I think with Trolls, bless the heart of Trolls 2, because Trolls 2 came out early in the pandemic. I think, no one, with all due respect, no one thought that we would be here in August. And my thinking is that the reason that they went ahead and released it, they probably thought, well, if we release it, by the time people can go to the theaters, we can still recoup. No one had any idea in March that we would, I'm not going to cuss on here, but that we would fucking still be here in August. Do you know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be September.
Yeah. Oh, no,
well, you're not going to see a Marvel movie be made right now, because they're not going to get the money off of streaming to make it worthwhile. So
is there any Marvel shooting? Is there anything going? It's more Marvel.
No, they're going to pause it for now.
Yeah. I'm going to just say, Disney, I think, is in a completely different category, because Disney has diehard people. Yeah, Disney has people that pay $2,000 to go to their theme parks. They don't care. They keep raising the prices every year. They don't care. They're like, we're rich already, and people keep following us. Like we're
untouchable, right?
So I think it's going to be different, but luckily Disney does still have these things coming up, like Black Widow, WandaVision, which I'm actually really excited for. They have a bunch of content coming out, so I think they're going to be okay, and that's why they're like, take our, you want to see
Here in a
Mulan?
few minutes.
Pay $30, okay? You're out of unemployment money. You'll find a way because you love us. I think they're gonna be fine.
Right. Now that makes sense. That makes sense. I think it's unfortunate, but I can't say I disagree. That makes absolute sense. That we're, that's what it is, man. Because Mulan's a good one. I think we're all excited, but I'm just saying,
Meh. It's another live action made off a cartoon that was already made.
Jet Li. Jet Li's in it. I'm excited for Jet Li. My
Right.
other thing for being excited about it, no offense to anyone at all by what I'm about to say, but Crazy Rich Asians and stuff like that is not made very often. So when you actually make a movie with an all Asian cast, it's a rare thing, right?
Right.
Because forever it's always been different cultures playing different cultures instead of people playing their actual ethnicity or culture, representing their culture. So I'm excited to
White
show
folks
my
for everybody.
I'm excited to show my daughter something that with people that look like her,
Right. Amen.
and something that she could identify with. Because when I was young, I loved Superman, but for the longest time I never could figure out why there were never superheroes that looked like me, even though I loved Superman as much as I did. Other kids could relate more than I could to it. And, not saying that because my mom made certain things more important than other things, but, you look in the mirror and look at other things and,
Trust me,
you're like,
man, we all got that same story. I absolutely agree. But you know what? I'm excited because we have some guests coming up
yes.
for, given that we are in a time, even though we're in this pandemic, we're all, for those of us who are looking to make or break it in Hollywood, all of us are stand-ups, and those who are acting, one of the things, I don't want to over politicize this idea, but part of why I even came to show business was this idea of representation.
Yes.
But the thing is, even if you want to politicize the idea of representation, you got to break in. You still got to break in. You got to get the jobs. You got to get the agents. And I think we have some amazing guests that are going to talk to us about it, Stacey.
So we're gonna play some stuff really quick, and we're gonna bring our guest on. All right, here we go.
I signed up for Lesley's comedy class because I've always had a fear of doing stand-up comedy, and I thought, if I can do this, I can do anything.
Hey, so the Fresh Faces class is a class that takes people who've never done stand-up to the stage at the Hollywood Improv in 5 weeks. The real principle behind my whole class is if somebody else can do your set, it's not your set.
Cody,
what's it been like taking the Fresh Faces class?
Well, she grew up in a small town, many miles from here, to humble beginnings, and she just teaches stand-up like something out of a book that I read once that I was really impressed with.
There's a curriculum I've developed over the last 10 years that is, I don't want to say foolproof, but there's no way to fail. A lot of times people are taking class because they've done stand-up before and they want to polish up their skills, but a lot of people are really taking it for self-esteem and to have their voice heard. And my real feeling is if you have a life, you're funny.
And we're married,
so we took it together.
Yes.
And we're very happy we took the class. It was awesome.
Not in our marriage, but in our
Yes.
in the class, we were really happy. No.
So here's how tonight works. We're here at the Improv and the show starts at 7:30. These students have never been in front of a live crowd and they're getting on stage for the first time. So they show up, I help them learn mic technique, we run through a couple things, and then it's free falling, baby. It's fun. And usually people are like, dude, that changed my whole perspective on everything. It's like a thrill. It's an extreme sport.
I got one message that said, in misspelled text speak, which is so hot, the letter R, interested, lots of R's, are interested, one nightstand, all one word, like a bedside table. And then, I love you, at the end of it. Like, are interested, one nightstand, I love you. It's like, wow. Obviously, I was very interested. Who wouldn't be interested? Seriously, to find somebody who's both looking for casual sex and also aggressively dumb.
And Meg Ryan comes out and acts out what a woman's orgasm is supposed to look like in that coffee shop, and it looks like something fun and exciting that you would aspire to see. Meg Ryan is bullshit. And I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt because here's the thing, and I don't wanna embarrass anyone with my sexual prowess and exploits, but a couple years ago, I saw a real orgasm. And that shit is fucking terrifying.
You've been an amazing crowd. Please join the Fresh Faces page on Facebook. And if you saw this tonight and you thought, hey, I could do that, email me at lesliewolff@gmail.com and we will hook you up for the next class. Thank you for being great. The next show here is on April 3rd. Please come on by.
Hi, I'm Monika Casey. I'm an actress, producer, stand-up comic, and C+ mom. Here's the deal. Whether you're new to LA or even thinking about moving here, my course will turn you into the hot new latte that everyone's talking about. It really doesn't matter how much theatrical training you've had, nothing prepares you for the wild business side of living in Los Angeles and becoming the CEO of you. This course is gonna give you insider tips from my own trial and error of living in Los Angeles. You're gonna learn from a Q&A with some of my successful friends who are constantly booking. We'll help you find reps and build a relationship garden. Be audition ready the second you hit town. Beginner's mistakes can set you back years in LA, and that's a lot of waiting tables. So load up your bra or boxer briefs full of crystals, and let's get you close-up ready. This course is about getting you prepped and polished, like a vegan's asshole.
All right, let's welcome Lesley, Wolff, and Monika Casey.
First of all,
Hi, girl.
thank you for showing something that was 10 years ago. It was so fun seeing the young people. Hi, Data.
Hey there, and just they put the long A is what I always say, and I love that clip though, like because I feel like, to be honest with you, I feel like those people, like even though like I'm moving, but I feel like those people, you have all this stuff, and that the reflection of a teacher that can bring it out of you, I think is just that's a beautiful feeling. I was talking earlier about teaching kids multiplication tables. There's nothing like being able to see the fruit of your work.
Oh, that's so true. I don't want to take it for Monika and myself, but we both have around 5 or 6 year old kids. So seeing what the teacher is having to do all day long on the computer, you're just like, how is that not jumping off of the building? So that's amazing.
Seriously.
So, brief introduction. Lesley Wolff is an incredible casting director and comedy stand-up teacher. And I love her because she's actually incredible as a teacher. Monika Casey is an incredible actress, producer, and co-host to Jeff Lewis Live, and also a great teacher. It was a pleasure, and I'm so happy that they're here with us. But I definitely wanted to get into it. Now, you guys, how long have you been in the business, both of you?
Do you want to go first? Well, I will say it is funny. I joked about that being 10 years old, but in that clip, I said I've been doing it for 10 years, and now I have been doing it for 20 years. So I started doing stand-up probably when I turned around 28 or 29. And my mentor was Sam Brown, who was a fantastic mentor and stand-up comedian. He unfortunately died of pancreatic cancer, but he taught me all the ins and outs of running a show. And it was by running the show for him at Good Bar, which was this little shady bar on Sunset. By running the shows and getting to know all the stand-ups, I really learned the business of stand-up. So I've been doing it for 20 years.
Nice. I would say that I moved here and I auditioned for the Groundlings in 2004. And so I was there for a couple of years. That's where I got started. That was sort of my whole goal of moving here. And, but again, I moved here and I had no idea how to get an agent. I knew no one, living on an air mattress, the whole deal. And so, yeah, everything's just been trial and error. And, I moved here at a time when I was still really, young and partying and not as serious about it as I am now. But, everybody has their own path and you are where you are, where you're supposed to be.
I will say this because I've taken both of their classes and I've taken them multiple times because there is something about, and it's definitely noticed now, where you take a class and if your instructor isn't as enthusiastic to teach, then you're kind of not really into it. Like you're like, yeah, I'm going, I'm paying for it. I'm just there to participate and just bring in this knowledge, but not really be completely involved. There is such high energy in these two women that even through like Zoom, you're like, okay, I'm here. Let's do this. Like, I'm so focused. I'm committed. I'm motivated.
Well, I personally make an active choice to do that because, like Monika, I went through the Groundlings program and I loved it. I think it's a valuable education and so important. But I found that in the improv world versus the stand-up world, it was a culture of telling people who were worthy and who weren't. And I don't believe that. I genuinely believe that everybody is a stand-up. And if you have a life, you're funny. That's my philosophy.
I agree.
I remember being in classes with people where the teacher respectfully told them that they should not quit their day job, so to speak. And I've seen them go on to be major stand-up comics. My favorite story is of a kid named Johnny Walker, who I took the Groundlings with, and the teacher was like, honey, you're not funny. And he went on to be a political musical comedy success. And he was so funny. He would always do.
The Groundlings did not accept Topher Grace from that 70s show. He didn't get it. So there's another, you know what I mean? People don't, you just trust your heart and your gut and you go with it. You know, don't listen to anybody.
But I do think that those schools are valuable. And I, as a casting director, I really use all the Groundlings and UCB people because they're very well trained. But I do think one of the freeing elements of stand-up, and Monika will probably back me on this, is that you're your own boss, you're your own crew, you're your own team. So there's really nobody you're competing with.
And that's, you know, part of the hard part too, is it's all on you. So there's no one else that's telling you, you know, oh, you got to go to these open mics, or, you know, there's no boss. You're your own boss. So you really have to learn ways to develop your work ethic and hold yourself accountable. And another thing I will say about the teaching aspect, my personal rule is never take class from people who aren't in the game themselves. You know, there's these people teaching that, you know, did it 20 years ago and they have a lot of old whatever, but it's like Lesley still does stand up. I'm still auditioning. I'm still doing projects. I just feel like there's a lot to learn from people who are, you know, in the trenches with you and going through it, and they're your people. And they're going to give you, you know, what's going on in the marketplace. They're going to give you real-time information, not fake news.
Well, that's actually really true, because when I started, I said, I don't just want to dip my toes in. Like, I want to at least have some type of guidance and advice. And I made the mistake, and I mean, to a certain point, I feel like I kind of made a mistake of going into just, you know, instructors that didn't really have that background, that resume. And I feel like I did lose some of my money.
Sure. Oh, me too. Over the years.
Yeah, but I mean, as soon as you start looking into these people that are still active, like their IMDb is current, everything's going on, I've received such great guidance. Like, that's why I love both of you. You guys are.
I've totally done that too, where I got kind of stuck in a class for a couple years where I felt like I was there for 4 hours, like late into the night, and I felt like all the acting teacher was doing was name dropping people he's coached or worked with, and it's like, well, when are we going to act? You know, or so many classes that don't even teach you how to audition. And it's like, I understand that scene study and all those things are important, but you need to be able to hit the ground running. You know, you're not going to do a scene for 4 weeks. Like, they've already shot 2 episodes of your favorite show in that amount of time. Like, you need to be able to break the stuff down fast, make it your own, and deliver the product.
And how things are evolving, I think especially with the onset of social media and everything else, is how important branding is for actors and comedians, both in stand-up and in improv and in auditioning, because you don't have a lot of time to sort of let people unfold and see who you are. You have to let them know who you are within minutes. And I've been giving a lot of these online seminars lately because of COVID and because of Zoom. But what's been the most valuable from the feedback I get from the people is the most valuable thing they get from me is when I give them honest and harsh feedback on their reels. Because if you're going out there with reels that look amateur or don't look great, you're not going to get opportunities. And it could be as simple as just editing. I help my clean out our house.
Editing.
Dusty. Editing your set to give yourself a good brand is so integral now, where it wasn't 10 years ago. Before, it didn't matter, and I think it's evolving. I was joking with Monika earlier about some commercial auditions I got. I'm now in a category because I'm about to be 50. People aren't supposed to say their age, but that's true. And I'm getting these funny, silly character things, and I'm like, why not embrace it? I'll have fibromyalgia. I don't care. Like, don't be too proud. Like, if I'm going to be the chubby office worker wrapped in bubble paper, give me 2 levels of bubble paper. You know, like, it's sort of being aware. And I think both Stacey and Monika sort of put their finger on something about good or bad coaches. I'm not sure there's good or bad coaches, but there's honest people. Like, people will sometimes take your money and be like, great, great, great. Or they'll be harsh. Stephen can tell you, I'll be harsh. And I love being harsh. It kind of fuels me to give people life-changing notes that could potentially help them rather than just feed them bullshit. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
people take classes for different reasons.
Yeah, and I feel like whoever you're learning from should want to help you. I mean, it was like life-changing to me when I started taking an acting class, and like a couple weeks in, my teacher came up to me and was like, hey, do you have representation? And I didn't at the time. And he's like, okay, see me after class. And he legit gave me the names of like 6 people to email. And it's like, those are the people that, you know, don't have to, but you're like, I want to learn from you. I want to give you my money, because you're not just like sitting there taking it so that I don't have any skills to go on and not need you anymore. You know, keep this mentality that you have to be in class for years and years and years and years and years. It's like, I'm friends with people who go off and do a series, and then they come back to class for like a couple months to brush off. If they brush up, if they will feel rusty, and then they go off again. You know, you don't need to be, you know, under, you know, constant. It's like going to therapy forever.
Also, do your research and see what other kinds of people are taking the class too, because a lot of times those people become your group and your people. Like, since I started teaching Fresh Faces 20 years ago, I joke around, but I say it's like a cast. You say, oh, it's not a cast, it's stand-up, it's solitary. But when you're in a group, you become friends with that group of people, and then you go and you practice. We're allowed out of our house. You go do open mics together. You go to coffee shops. You write together.
And that's the hardest part about LA, especially if you don't know anyone, is creating that tribe or that community of people where you can all help each other. You lift each other up. You know, you run lines, you FaceTime, whatever you can do, you know, to help each other make it.
And that's very true. I'm in 2 different like classes for stand-up, and I feel like that's been the best part. We're all showing up for each other's shows. We're all running things past each other. We're creating, even though we're in classes, we're creating masterminds, you know, in smaller groups to even run stuff back and forth. I have a question though. Like, I've been doing stand-up, and I'm excited about taking like my first acting class in a gazillion billion years. But when a person like me I've not worked in TV, my priority is either is it audition workshops or is it scene study? Because I just heard what you said, Monika. What's my priority?
I mean, I think like my class personally is a little bit of a combo. Like, I give scenes from shows that are running right now, and I cast you in scenes that you would be auditioning for. And then, you know, you learn. So I kind of do a combo where I'm teaching people the sort of audition techniques and skills that I've learned and stolen from other people, or casting directors like Lesley have told me when we're having a glass of wine after a show or something like that. You know, and I use that because I am combining everything I've learned along my journey in this town into all the good bits from every teacher I've ever had, and trying to honestly help people get a little bit further ahead and faster than I did. So I have a mom who has had like a child that's gone to college and come back, but she did TV 20 years ago. So it's like, I can just help find your personality and help tweak it, and then just give you the little technical things that you need to just make it look like you never, you know, stepped away, or that you haven't not been doing it.
That, because I was telling everybody, I had the classic LA story last year. I was Lyft driving. I pick up a director I'm driving to set in Chatsworth from like Silver Lake. So we have this long hour ride. Just on the conversation, she's like, I think you'd be perfect for this role. I'm going to get you in. And I got this audition. Now, I didn't book, but the first thing that frightened me was that this was, other than an audition for Let's Make a Deal, this was like my first real audition. And I'm like, I'm calling all my friends, like, okay, what do I do? I mean, they went with someone, but it just made me think, Monika, like, what's my priority, the chicken or the egg, auditioning or scene study? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so,
I think you can do both. I think that's the only, otherwise just more and more time is just going to go by. And I feel like LA is kind of like a casino. Lesley and I love to gamble. And I just feel like we're always just one hit away from that royal flush, and so it can, and that any day can be your lucky day. The point is just doing all the prep and all the work that you can so that when in that moment you're ready, and it can be the best one, but then it could be like, oh, they went a different direction, a different hair color, a different age. There's all those things, but I think you can do both.
Got it. Like, I think people want to know that there are plenty of people trying to break in and trying to figure out, do I have, how do I do that? So thank you for that. Thank you.
And I want to ask you a question. Did you stay in touch with those casting people? Did you send a thank you note? Like, these are all, so anybody that goes in on audition, always send a thank you note, a little card. It can be blank. People don't get things in the mail anymore. So thank you notes are big. They'll remember you. Even now, it's never too late. Even if that audition was a year ago, just say, hey, wishing you guys well back in the office after the Rona, like hope to see you on Zoom soon or something like that. Just always reach out and keep these relationships going.
But never send like a stripping telegram or anything like that, right? No, okay. I'm gonna write that down.
And try to make your handwriting legible. I know mine is terrible because none of us write anymore. But try, or have a friend write it for you.
Yeah, you want to stay in their head. You want them to be thinking about
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
I would interject one thing with what's most valuable. And I think if you get a big opportunity, the best use of your money would do a specific coaching for that part. So say you get the part, you have the script, you call Monika, you say, can I schedule an hour session with you? She goes over that session. I do believe preparation is 99% of booking anything, because preparation and fun. So you're 100% prepared. You've done all you can do. And now it's up to what Monika said. They're choosing what look they want or what they want. But there's really no magic way to get anything unless you have somebody pushing for you. Like when I was on Weeds, I had a great audition, except my friend Matt Salzberg finally put a word in for me. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's the reason I got it or not, but I had the greatest time on it. But the difference of getting it or not getting it could be, like Monika said, having your friend put that call in, or
or the note, the thank you for letting me
and you send that note. The best time is the minute you walk out that door. You go to a mailbox, you have that note read, or write it in your car after, because sometimes you can throw something in the note that like is funny from the audition, or like for my example,
throw in the note is a gift card.
No, that's only if you book it. No gifts unless you book it. But yeah, for after Shameless, I wrote my note, and right when I walked in, there was nudity in the episode, and for the role that I was doing, it got cut out. Bummer. Too much nudity for showtime. But when I got to the audition, they had us all sign a thing because of the Me Too movement and all of that about, we're not going to have you disrobe during the audition, and we want to give everyone a safe space. So I wrote something to the casting director, like, thanks for making us all feel so comfortable on nudity day. And, I just put that in the mail, just little things like that.
Okay. Thanks.
I am always comfortable on nudity day. Always.
Let it come out. I know that's like the first thing I tell any like new reps I have, and I'm willing to do nudity. I'm not afraid.
No, you guys, I went in for a Snickers Super Bowl commercial, and they said must wear lingerie, and I was like, this is a joke. So I got this Notori skin color lingerie, and I went in and I was put on a veil. So you never know what they're looking for in lingerie.
Yeah, it could say yoga, whatever. Don't get in your head. Don't start talking yourself out of the part. The minute, that's what most people do. The minute they get an audition, I'm not right for this, it doesn't matter. I have met girls that don't look like police officers at all, and they get cast as police officers.
Wow. I will tell you as a fact, if you give a killer audition and you don't book that part, they still have that tape, and we'll refer back to it if they need you for a quick part where they can't audition or something, and they're going to use that tape to show you for something else.
Exactly.
Well, I think I made the right move of talking myself out of doing the remake of Gandhi, so that wouldn't fly.
Right.
You never know, bro.
Now, speaking of auditions, what makes an audition, because you guys are all familiar with the casting process, what makes an audition stand out positively for you?
As self-tape or as in person?
Both.
Both.
I can take this one first. For me, not for all casting people, if the more prepared you are and off book, the better. If somebody is reading from their paper at all, they're not even in consideration for me. So if somebody is not prepared and off book enough when they come in to have a full scene with me where they're connected, then it's pretty much, not for me gonna work. But for self-tapes, what I love is when people have fun, when they look like they're having fun and being creative and doing fun stuff with it. That's what I like the most.
Yeah. And also to add to that, a lot of casting directors are now putting in the audition notices that for self-tapes as well, they don't even want to see that paper in your hands. I just had a 10-page audition for a Lifetime movie, and it said it big, bold letters. And a lot of sets now don't even allow sides on the set. Shameless. Wow. It was a no script policy on set. And I mean, even though I knew my stuff, I was still sweating. You're still nervous. Like I was trying to hide things in my back pocket just in case I forgot. I mean, so it's just be prepared. And if you don't have a system to learn your lines, you have to get one. You have to just robotically drill it into your brain so that then you can have fun. Once you know it and you're prepared, like Lesley said, then you're having fun. There's no way you cannot have a good time if you know your lines.
And just to be clear, it doesn't have that much to do with your lines or how much you know. They'll make a decision within 2 or 3 seconds. Totally. So make sure you have a good like your outfit today is great and your lighting is great. Make sure you always have a color that pops and for self-tapes and that you have good lighting. My philosophy has always been it is if you're going to go half-assed, you're not going to get the job. You have to go full ass to get the job. You know what I mean?
Full frontal.
Now, there's always this thing about going after roles or certain attributes that stick out about yourself that you have to push more, like Sofia Vergara is a sexy, spicy Latina. Michelle Rodriguez is this kick-ass tomboy. Seth Rogen is always the stoner Jew. Should we embrace that as new actors? Should we have like our signature or should we just go for everything?
Monika?
I mean, I think certain things, yeah, like if it's a significant attribute, yeah, play it up. It can't hurt. It just depends on the role. But I feel like I feel like it doesn't work if you're just like, I'm an actress and I can do everything. Like I know, again, speaking back to your brand, like I know my brand is usually the like Real Housewives kind of snarky, whatever. And I just kind of go with that. And then if I have to be serious, I work my hardest to do that. But I mean, it's definitely like, you've got such like a sexy, fun look. And I feel like, make it work for you. Why not?
Whether you like it or not,
yeah,
people are going to start seeing you in a certain way and for certain roles.
And one of the best things I ever heard was be typecast. You'll be a millionaire. There's some
always get cast as the bitchy bitch or bitch lesbian or whatever it is. I love it. And it's so funny because I think I'm so goofy and funny. No, I never get cast as that at all. And Stacey, you're such a powerhouse and you're so fun. I was going to ask you why you went so deadpan on those voiceovers, but we'll talk about that after, the ones that you just sent me. I was just interested. It was a choice and I didn't mind it, but I was like, I wonder why she's doing that with the choices. I'll explain. But they were not bad. That was the choice. But
your essence is what's, even like in stand-up, it's like whatever your essence is, that's what's special about you. That's what draws people to you.
And you're also a teacher and you're also a old soul and a guide person. So don't try to pretend to be a cliche Latina, whatever you think that means, because you are a different foundation, So like what Monika said, be yourself.
Yeah.
I was going to say to the audience, Lesley doesn't seem like it now, but I've seen your reel and I saw the standing Karen face done so well that like There's this one office scene. What was that? Which one was that from? Where you said some line that was really,
They don't want
really
the money. That was
yeah.
Siraj Henson. That's my boyfriend always says that to me in the bedroom. He's like, they don't want the money.
Yes, that dude, that face you do right at that moment, mwah, perfect.
Well, it's funny that you say that because a lot of times we fight against what our natural brand is if it's not, the hot leading lady or whatever kind of thing. But the trick is to really get a sense, like I will rip anyone a new one, and everybody knows that about me. So I always get cast as the know-it-all, Karen-y type of a thing. I of course couldn't be more opposite of that in my real life with my ideologies, but I can play that. So I hope that works for me with Black Lives Matter. Just kidding. But speaking of the real too, this is what I want to tell you, Stacey, and then you just have to give a little bit in your reel. The problem most people make is put way too much, and it gives people a chance to not like you. Just pick the best second of everything. I swear to God. For me, I'd rather see that. People are sending me I did this showcase thing for Hollywood Casting and Film, which I love that place, but they really welcome in a lot of brand new actors. And I made the mistake of saying, I'll watch all of your reels. I got 200 incoming emails. But when people have these long reels where it's like montages, skipping through the field, I don't need to know that. I know probably can guess you can skip through a field.
And also it puts clips up on Actors Access, like nothing longer than a minute. Nobody has that attention span anymore. And same when I'm helping coach someone when they're about to submit to agents and managers, and I'm asking for clips and things, and they send me like a 3-minute stand-up thing. Usually that 3 minutes isn't totally solid. So I just pick 30 to 45 seconds. Like that's the joke you send. That's just that joke. That's what's going to make them go, oh shit, I'm going to email this person back.
And it's like that George Costanza thing, leave them wanting more. You'd rather leave them wanting more. And the same goes, I think, for auditions and self-tapes. And this is just a little insider thing. I don't want you to come in and start chit-chatting with me about your life when I'm in an audition where I'm seeing 30 people. I want you to come in, say hello, do your set. And if I want to ask you to do something different, I will. But it's not social time. And that's so funny because a lot of actors historically have thought the more I smooth talk and have fun with the thing, the more they'll like me. That's not the right time to do it.
A couple of questions. I was in a boot camp for voiceover, and the person who trained us, that was one of the first things she said. She's like, don't go in there like chatting it up, whatever. Go in there with
voiceover, because those engineers have a lot to do if you're going into a booth.
And it was just for auditioning, but she was just like, even for auditioning, don't go in there trying to chat everybody up. Just go in there, focus on you, do you. I have a technical question about reels. You guys just spoke to it. So one, for the new person, how many clips and how long is this may be everybody else may know, but someone's going to listen.
I think if you're emailing an agent and it's kind of a cold email or a referral, again, short and sweet, just a couple sentences, and make your personality show up in those sentences. But I always think if you're a stand-up, you do a stand-up first, and then you just do one other clip of your best footage, hopefully something from a series or from a good indie film if you have it. And again, no longer than a minute.
Okay, everything.
Okay. Now, we're almost out of time, but I do want to ask this very important question because I know a lot of people were asking, and you guys are very familiar with it. And in case you guys have more questions, because we're out of time, hello, Lesley and Monika are here. Come on, I highly, highly recommend their class. But the question is, pilots. Everybody has some sort of pilot or script or something they've written. How do these people get it in front, put it in the right hands? What do you recommend?
It's interesting, Stacey, that you asked that, because what my class has turned into is to find your pilot. You know that. And I still want to discuss I don't want to give it away, but our EPO pilot with you. That's so hard, right? I could pretend like it's easy, but it's not. But if you come up with a pilot, the best thing to do, this is my opinion, not necessarily the truth, is make a sizzle reel of your favorite scenes with your friends from that pilot and shoot it to show how it must be made. Like another one of Monika's students who took my class named Ashley Singleton, we came up with a great pilot for her too. We did some one-on-one sessions to help her get to it, but it's really, really funny. And if you love your pilot, you can always use it as a writing sample. That's terrific. But in terms of making it, The only way to really get a show made is to have a literary agent and to get it to somebody and to do all that stuff. But the best way you could do that is build up all the aspects, build up your stand-up, build up your acting, build up everything to where you can go in as a producer like Monika does with your own vehicle.
Exactly. And I'm, doing that right now. And it takes time. You think things are going to happen overnight, but I mean, I've got a pilot that is with some great producers right now, and we're, getting it out to pitch soon. But we also shot, the sizzle reel for it 2 years ago. It takes time. I've been working on this for probably 3 years total since we started writing it. And so, and that's me sharing it with every relationship in my relationship garden that I've built, and then passing it along to people, and then eventually how I found my producers. But even then, it's not overnight. It's a lot of yeses and nos, and, you'll learn to just keep asking until people give you the no, stop asking, but there's lots of
the best way to get it out there is to make something visual that you can show people.
Yes. Which you can do on your iPhones,
You could do like a pilot for around $5,000 or less. And I made one for mine called Pet Friendly, and it was great. And we made it, and I never really pushed for it to go any further, but maybe I'll pick it up again and do it again at some point. But it's very hard to get a pilot made.
All right. Well, girls, you guys were incredible. Again, please, if you have any more questions, please reach out to Lesley and Monika. They are on Instagram. We have the links on below. You guys were a pleasure, and I will talk to you guys soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Love you, Lesley.
Love you, Money.
Thank you guys so much. This has been the best. Our listeners can't wait. We're excited for anybody who comes in for this replay.
Yeah, I'm no longer afraid to go out for that more romantic lead role now.
You should.
Don't be. Do it.
They know I should not.
It's fantastic. Very Judd Apatow.
Yeah. Total Seth Rogen.
All right, we're out of here.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All
Well,
right,
fun
all
stuff.
Oh my God, wasn't that incredible?
Powerful stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh yes, amazing.
Powerful stuff, Stacey.
Well, now we are going on to our idiot in this of the week, but this time it's plural. Idiots of the week. Please put it on the screen there, Stefan. I think I love doing this voice when we talk about idiots. It makes me feel like I'm a little bit superior to the people that we're talking about. So, okay, so YouTube's Shaws charged with swatting, and no, it's not the Paul brothers. After bank robbery pranks, they're gonna get different charges. YouTube stars Alan and Alex Stokes are in very real trouble after allegedly faking a series of bank robberies. They've just been hit with a felony charge. Now, let me just explain the joke instead of just reading the whole thing. What they did is they ran up to an Uber driver dressed as criminals with a bag of money. They called an Uber driver. When they got there, they showed up. They get inside. The Uber driver said, No, I'm not your getaway car. A cop was there, okay? Seeing the thing happen, stops the guys, gives them a warning. These idiots go off and go ahead and they go do it again. But that time, the DA's like, no, the cop told you a warning the first time. That's it. Now, these guys are facing a maximum sentence of 4 years in state prison, which I think is a little much for a practical joke where no one got hurt. But I don't know. I'm a little... I gotta tell you, I'm a little conflicted because I'm an Eric Andre fan, so...
Well, I think it's first of all, I'm a twin, so I think this just speaks badly for twins across America because we don't get down like this. That's first. And then they're so handsome, they're so adorable, and it just seems honestly like idiotic and greedy. Like, how greedy are we to do something ridiculous and that, could jeopardize? So it's just, and I think the tough part is 4 years might be a long time, but these cats are not babies per se. Like, my thing is in dog, they're 23. So I feel like you guys have, you're old enough to know the repercussions of your choice. And it just, to me, makes it more idiotic. And here's the thing. I'm young enough to be their mother. So I don't have the highest expectation of a 23-year-old. But I don't know. I just think that this was, like, and that you involved other people. I think that's what sucks too. Like, I think that's what's idiotic. If you're gonna like, they could have like filmed a reenactment. No, like to me, you didn't have to go for like, we're gonna actually involve a real Uber driver. And it just, to me, on the idiocracy is on so many levels. Bless their hearts. I mean, Young and Foolish is the name of the song by the Count Basie Orchestra, Young and Foolish. But I just think you could have, y'all could have done a reenactment. You're YouTube stars, after all. You could have done a reenactment.
Look, come on. If it was people of color, they would have been dead already.
I didn't want to say it.
4 years. Let's hope all those views are going to pay for your bail money. I'm sorry. They deserve it. Stay in jail. Go learn from your stupid thing. Like, truly, I'm sorry. You know exactly what's going on in the world, and you did it. And on top of that, this Uber driver is getting paid, right? But now you've stalled and ruined his day of making money because you took it upon yourself to do something that also takes money away from other people working.
Right.
For what? Your own personal gain, which were the views for YouTube, right? So cool. You're going to get your views, but you're going to use that as bail money for the stupid thing you did. No. Go to jail.
I stand with you. I stand with you. Greedy. Go to jail. Yep.
And who knows? These guys might be in jail one day, and another guy comes up behind him and goes, "Don't worry, man. This is just going to be a prank." Anyway, that's a horrible joke.
Yeah,
Let's take a minute to get it.
All I want to say is, I feel for the parents because they got to deal with that bullshit. So, I feel for the parents.
They're 23. No, they don't.
Yeah.
Well, if that was my kid and your ass got to jail for doing some dumbass
they gotta
shit,
know. But
the only reason Aunt Becky is going to jail is because she's the one that committed her crime. Her kids aren't doing anything. Her kids aren't getting they're not getting prosecuted.
Oh, I'd still whip some ass no matter what.
So, I mean, I think
I could see you turning it on. Who gonna whip some ass? Just turning on the song.
I agree with you, Stacey. I mean, and it's to me as someone who is African American, we're all thinking it. Like, we're always all thinking it. And and when you say it, sometimes we sound like the bad guy. But I agree. Like, I mean, first of all, they wouldn't have lived to tell otherwise. And I just. Yeah, like I said, my thing is that they involved. You could have done a reenactment. That's, I think, on so many levels. Besides that, there was just another way to go about it. You could have done a reenactment and had, as they say in our Hollywood game, and had control of the narrative. Now, it's a whole nother level of stuff you got to do.
Look. Majority of the pranks online are fake, and they're paid actors that are involved. If you're already viral YouTube stars, you already have the money. You just chose to spend it on probably some stupid Ferrari, or like that one TikToker who decided to get a mansion and throw a big rager until the mayor cut off his power and water. Like, you're young. That's totally okay. We all do stupid things when we're young. I stupidly did Jerry Springer when I turned 18. We all do stupid shit. But guess what? We got to pay the consequences. Mine's on YouTube. I can't do anything about it. So, too bad.
I tried college when I was 18. That was dumb.
And there's something to be said. That's a whole show. There's something to be said for that. Like, I think that's a topic we want to look at. Just like, are you really ready to choose what you want to do for the rest of your life when you go off to college? And and
you're not even who you are the rest of your life.
Like,
In any stage of your development, you're not even the person you're going to be in 10 years.
Right.
Also atomically, but that's a different science episode too.
Some people, that's possible. Some people just don't change.
I mean, you have the exceptions, and like, because we're about to talk about this, how less unemployment affects people, like if you're doing the job of your life. So it's like, for example, I feel like, we know that Beyonce didn't go to college, but there are people who are, and it's not even exceptional. You don't have to always be exceptional, but some people do know early and they do fit themselves in. But I think a great number, again, another topic for another day, need a little time to decide. But man, unemployment.
Dana, just to let you know, we're actually flipping a couple segments tonight. So, yeah, we got to do that.
So we're gonna welcome our next guest. Yes, Shawna Baca. So check this out really quick.
Woo!
All right, we want to welcome her right now. Hello, hello.
Hey guys. Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing just good. How are you?
Doing
Good.
great. I read the book excerpts that you sent us, and I'm glad we had a little bit of time before the show so I could compose myself after the first chapter that I read. That was rather rough, but beautifully written. Very good story. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Not to mention that trailer was incredible, and you could actually feel like the intense emotion. Like, I need to read this. Like, I know you have some background in filmmaking, but the fact that you could bring that emotion out to what you felt on those pages that you gave us was incredible.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, as a filmmaker, want to make films. I never thought I was going to write a book, let alone write a book about panic attacks and agoraphobia. But, and the book's kind of been done for a while. I think it was just kind of like a cathartic experience of putting your deepest, darkest secrets out into the world. That's like truly wearing my heart on my sleeve, but I felt like it was the time because I feel like our society and our nation is in a state of mental chaos right now. And, people are, fear of the unknown, panic. For me, I was an agoraphobic for a year. I didn't leave my house except to go to therapy once a week. And, this pandemic, it was like, I kind of had an epiphany. It was like, oh gosh, now I understand. It all makes sense. Like everything that I experienced back then when I was 21 and I was terrified to go outside of the house prepared me for this pandemic. I mean, I'm somebody who could stay inside the house, and not freak out and not have a mental, breakdown. I mean, I knew like I developed tools on how to cope with isolation. So, I just thought, okay, I'm going to release this book now. And if if nobody reads it, then, nobody reads it. It was, a good experience for me to kind of purge that. But if it helps someone out there who's suffering from depression or panic, then, it served its purpose.
Oh yeah, even if it touches one person, that matters, man. That's the same with comedy too. Comedy, books, movies, your goal is just to touch somebody. Even if it's one person, because you just never know. That one person might be in a point in their life where they need that light to get out of the darkness, man.
Yeah.
Shawna, I have a question. Like, if someone asks for your help, like what's the quickest, fastest tool that you would give anybody that's dealing with isolation? Like, what's the first thing you would say to someone who said, this pandemic, I don't know what to do?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question because that's, a lot of the fear that we have is fear on perception, basically, of how we see the world, right? Like me getting panic attacks was scary enough, but what was more scary is the fear of the fear. It's like you're watching, even in watching horror films, right? When we see, Michael or Jason or whatever serial killer comes out, you're like, okay, but it's those points leading up to it, right? Where it's like, you're the kid that's like looking for your friend out in the woods, and you're freaking out because you don't know, and you hear these like little creaks, and these like sounds of natures, and you don't know when it's going to jump out of you. I mean, that's like a panic attack, like it's the fear of the fear that it's going to happen. So, I would just say there are, if somebody is experiencing these things, the best thing for like me is to get out in nature, because nature always has that kind of calming effect. You don't want to be in a place where there's a lot of activity, and a lot of movement and things going around. If you can meditate, which most people probably can't in their early stages of panic or having an anxiety attack, because you can't control it. It's coming at you. What I learned is if that's happening, you can basically cup your hands, breathe through it, put your head between your knees, it slows down your breathing. And then also it'd be great to focus on something. Like for me, it was painting. I used to paint ceramics or whatever because you'd have to focus and paint these fine, small little lines. So a lot of people say you color and for anxiety. It takes you out of your head, of that monkey brain, like just everything kind of like going a mile a minute, and you're that flight or fight response going off.
Yeah.
Quick question. What inspired you to want to write the book?
Well, I was going through kind of a dark period in my life because I had lost my best friend. She died in a kind of very freakish car accident. And then my grandmother died, and my grandmother raised me when I was young. And so she was like my mother. So, I mean, I was experiencing these losses and I was kind of in a dark place. And I think in order to kind of tap into that, those times and that trauma, like I probably needed to be in that dark space. And I didn't know I was going to write a book. It was like one of those things where I got up and I was on my way to get coffee first thing in the morning to the kitchen. I sat in front of my computer and I was like, why did I sit here? Wait, why did I sit? One of those moments where you do something, you don't know why you did it. And then it was like, oh, I'm going to write a book. And I'm like, what? I'm going to write a book? Like, it's kind of almost this, I'm going to write this book. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to write this book. And so I did. And then I decided to go back to school because that was like the one thing that I regretted not going and finishing. So when it was at school that I was like, oh my God, when I had panic attacks like 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago, when I would sit in these rooms with these people that were like all in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And back then it was like deemed a condition that affected people having midlife crises, basically, like in those years. And so when I was on the campus, I was like mortified to learn that like suicide is the second leading cause of death on college campuses. Wow. There was a lot of people like depressed in school because it was like during the first election where like Trump won and like and people were like really, really in this state of like depression. I mean, it really affected, and I never seen the kids get so crazy about politics because I mean, when I was 20, I didn't care about politics, and but there was so much anxiety. I mean, I'd watch these kids, like they were terrified to get up in front of a class to speak to, the students or like present their projects. And I learned that now panic attacks and, anxiety disorders affect people like from 17 to like, I think it's like 17 to 25 is like the highest percentage. And it's like 17 to 25. And it's predominantly like more women than men. And I was like, well, how did this shift? Because I was the one person having a midlife crisis at 21, you know what I mean? But it like, and I don't know if we're just learning more. They're like taking more interest in psychology and emotions and how they, trigger responses or how we deal with life skills based on like traumatic, experiences or emotions that we kind of still hold on to, or if our society has just changed more rapidly because of technology. Like everything just moves so much faster.
Yeah.
Now, Shawna, quick question, and I kind of want you to keep it brief because I'm pretty sure you probably talk about it in your book, but how did it happen? Like you didn't have it, right? And then it just happened for that year. How?
To be honest, I was like drinking a lot. Like I had a fake ID since I was, I don't know, like 13 or 14 years old. And, I had a lot of like traumatic experiences during my childhood. And I think that, those kinds of things like drinking and partying, drugs, stuff like that, where, my coping mechanism. Right. And then when I turned 21, I was like, oh, this isn't who I want to be. And then I kind of just, quit smoking cigarettes, quit drinking alcohol, quit, partying, and going to raves and stuff like that. And I don't think that I don't know, maybe there was like some sort of trigger of not having something to cope.
That is actually incredible because this is the unfortunate reality. If you're building stuff in that you haven't addressed, problems or things that are going on in your life, and you suppress them, things can randomly occur that you don't expect. I mean, I developed a really bad, severe anxiety problem maybe like 3 years ago. It was caused by my hearing loss. And it's crazy because panic attacks happen in different varieties of ways, right? So you can be that person that clenches your jaw so much, apparently it can like change the structure of your tongue. You could be that person that just grabs your hand and just like starts like thinking, and you can stop breathing. Like you can think or you can feel like you're having a heart attack or having this random chest pain. You think it's heartburn, but in reality it's your anxiety. So it's really, you're very brave to talk about these things that a lot of people don't talk about. I really honestly praise you because that is incredible.
Thank you.
Also without giving too much away of the book at all, the experience the chapter that I read, I mean, you were deprived of sleep so much to the point that when you had a certain panic attack, right, you had to go to the emergency room, correct?
Oh my God. Yeah. I had a frequent flyer, like a VIP card, like to the ER. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I went to the ER. It was to the point where, granted, when I first got it, I mean, I had physical, like when you're having a panic attack or an anxiety attack, it's very physical. Like, so the first time I had it, I thought that I was having a heart attack, because I didn't realize that the palpitations and the chest pains were hyperventilation, and I didn't know what was really going on with me, other than the fact that I was feeling this like heartbeat, chest pounding. I can't breathe. I can't catch my breath. And then, I'm like, I got to get to the ER. But I mean, I was convinced, for a really long time, for probably like a good, 6, 7, 8 months, that it was definitely a physical condition. I didn't even relate it to being in the slightest psychosomatic. So, I mean, it was a very like, I mean, nowadays it's like you can actually Google anything, but back then, if you wanted information, you had to walk to the library. It's like, you can, things weren't accessible. So I was a little bit more ignorant, knowledge, to gain knowledge, I had to go outside of, my comfort zone, my environment. There weren't a lot of books on panic attacks, so now it's like, I think it's easier to sort of navigate like what's happening. But just to go back to what you were saying about, brave, I think that there's been a stigma about mental illness or mental disorders for a really long time. And I think that it's really important to talk about things, to talk about our vulnerabilities, to talk about our fears, because what happens is that, every time like I talk to anybody I know about my book way before it was published, and my experiences with panic attacks and agoraphobia, like every single one of the people that I spoke to then shared their experience with some sort of fear, whether it was panic, fear, anxiety, or just something bad that has happened to them. And what that does is it sort of creates a space of connection. And I think that when you have panic attacks and agoraphobia, or you suffer from depression or bipolar, I mean, it's important to know that you're not alone. So by one person sharing their story, the other person can then feel that connection and not feel like they're alone. It's a really like a powerful thing, just, having that kind of dialogue. And we need to have more of it, because there's nothing wrong, with expressing that you've had an anxiety attack. We shouldn't be shamed for that.
Wow. Like, Shawna, it feels like, I mean, this has been an amazing conversation. Like you are the change that we seek. Like I didn't even know what panic attacks were until I think maybe after I stopped having them, when I started finding out that these moments where I would feel dizzy and feel like I was going to pass out, like I would be in places and I thought something, like, of course I thought something was wrong with me, but I thought it was me. So I never really told anybody. This went on for a while until it didn't. And I just would, whenever I would feel it coming, because it would just feel like the room was spinning really fast. And then I would just like sit really wherever I was. And whenever it would happen, I would just sit really still. But it's been probably in the last 5 or 10 years. And that was easily 15 years ago that was happening, but I didn't know where to turn or what was going on. And like you said, and it's probably been more than that, I didn't know what to look up, and I didn't know, and without even, we'd have to come and bring you back on. So many stigmas in the African-American community around mental health. So it's very hard to tell anybody that you think something is wrong with you, because you don't, because it just feels like you won't be believed, or you won't be very supported, or you just need to. So thank you for everything that you just said.
Well, wait a minute. I mean, we do have a guest or a comment that has actually asked a question of our guest, and it's from our guest next week, Ed Namrock from the Ed Namrock Show. He's got a question right there, so we should let our commenters ask a question. And he's asking Shawna, is there any particular social settings that trigger these panic attacks?
I think it's actually unique. I mean, I'm not a therapist, but I can only tell you guys from my experience. And so I guess, they say that to be an expert at anything, you have to like either be educated or, have at least 10,000 hours of experience. So I guess I can say I'm an expert in it, but not by education, just by experience. I would say for me, the way that I found out that what my triggers was finding commonalities in the journals that I wrote in. So everywhere that I went, that I had a panic attack, I had to write down every single thing that was in my environment, not necessarily what was just happening around me, but I'll give you an example. Like, I was in the park one day and I started to feel like, like I was getting anxiety. And my therapist at the time had asked, well, what was going on? What was around you? And I said, well, there was a woman over here, like on the left side, on the playgrounds with her infant child. And she was holding, her baby. And then to the right, there was a man cooking, barbecuing all by himself. And, that doesn't seem like anything that would trigger you, right? You're in nature, the birds are chirping, like the sun is out, your feet are on the grass. But my commonality was that it ended up being the trigger of the separation of my family, because my dad was killed when I was 7.5 months old and my mom was 17 when she had me. So the divide is me seeing a mom to the left with her infant child holding it, and then to the right, a man by himself. So it's a separation of the family. So, it gets it gets that deep, because they say that like babies, can have separation anxiety at a very young age. So even though I couldn't understand that, then that becomes part of my molecular structure, right? And it's stored within me on a cellular level.
Right.
And I don't even know, because like you said, time passes, you suppress it, but then you repress it. So now I have a divide between, this feeling and really being aware of how to connect those two things.
Now, Shawna, I know, unfortunately, we're going to have to cut it really soon, but I did want to have one last question, because you're really inspiring, and a lot of people have similar experiences or had completely different, but you self-published your book, right? And you had it on Amazon. What tips do you give to people that want to tell their stories and get this out?
It was a learning process for me, because I'm a, filmmaker. Like but writing a book is not in my wheelhouse. It's not in my background, but I really think that, once setting your intention of something that you have, a passion or conviction to do and get out, I think that, you find the way, you learn how to do it. And I'm still kind of navigating through that whole process. But what I do know is that, so many people are self-publishing right now. Even if I did get a traditional publisher, I might still have to do a lot of the legwork because I'm an unknown writer, right? And then the idea is, is my story really something that has to be something that Random House publishes? I mean, it's really for somebody who actually might need it. And I know that it's going to launch on the 7th of September on Kindle, and it's going to be free to all the Kindle Select people. So it's not, but anyway, I'm doing I'm my own PR person right now. I'm, my own marketing person. And, again, I'm trying to just get it out to more of the people that need it, but just do it. I really am a believer that, yes, you should do your due diligence. Yes, you should find, what you need. I hired a book editor a couple of years ago. That I found, and he was fantastic. I didn't know how to format a book, but if you want something bad enough, you'll go for it. And I think that you should be inspired. Don't ever be afraid to go after something that you believe needs to get done.
Wow. Thank you, Shawna. Wow.
Thank you for having me on.
Did we want? Would you like to join us possibly on
the rest of the show?
It's up to you. It's optional.
How much is the rest of the show?
Till about 10ish.
Yeah.
Oh.
Up to you.
I don't know what the rest of the show consists of.
A lot
talking
of
about
stuff.
things.
Yeah, we have some segments, and we just have some great stuff. Some funny stuff.
Funny, silly stuff.
Yeah, there's a couple of news stories. Where are we about to talk about the unemployment issue? Or are we going straight into Reddit?
Yeah, well, you said funny stuff, and then you want to talk about the unemployment issue.
Right.
Now, are we doing serious, or we're gonna go?
Well, let's go for the Reddit. Let's go for the Reddit.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, we could do the Ask Reddit. Why not? Let's just give me a minute because I wasn't ready with that one just yet.
Yeah. This is the funny stuff, Shawna, right here. This is the funny stuff, live and in person, you guys.
All right, so we're gonna do Ask Reddit. Don't show it yet, Stefan. We're gonna do the Ask Reddit, and this week we got compliments that sound like insults. So the first one, who wants to read it? Come on, who wants to read it? Go.
All right. So, my favorite. You're smarter than you look.
Yes, I hear this all the time.
And I think everybody has heard this maybe once. You're smarter than you look. And so as we know, it's a classic. Just side eye sort of thing. I don't even who imagining the first person who ever said that to someone and how that person felt. Just foolishness. Anyway, you're smarter than you look.
Yes, you're smarter than you look. This is why I like to walk around the office like this. Yeah, what's going on, everybody?
Unfortunately, I've heard this a couple of times.
Have you, Stacey? All right, so for real, Stacey, how did it make you feel when you heard that?
My automatic reaction was, bitch.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you're paying for dinner. Okay. But I mean, I don't know. I think the common thing is when we get really comfortable with people, we get to be silly and we get to do stuff, and then there's always this whole I put up a front at work, right? You're supposed to have this emotional intelligence at work, and when you're doing your busy stuff at home, I'm if I'm with friends, I'm mean. Screw y'all.
Screw y'all. Got you.
Let's have Shawna read the next one.
Oh, I can't see it.
Oh, you can't.
Okay. All right, who's got it next? Who's got next? All right, here you go.
All right. Once a client at my salon told me I looked exactly like a celebrity. I said, "Oh, thank you. Which one?" She said, I can't remember her name. The ugliest Kardashian sister.
Like that is.
Hey, does everybody want to vote which one it is? Just kidding, just kidding. We're trying to keep people happy with us in Hollywood.
That's like, to me, like when someone says something like that, like to me, they pulled that from deep down. Like that just like, I feel like it was there at no point as that was passing your lips did you think that was going to work out. Like at no point as that whole insult compliment form did you think that was going to work out well once it got to be heard out loud.
Okay, everybody, listen to me, okay?
Okay.
You're not ugly. You're just poor.
Yeah.
Hey, some people just be happy and fortunate you don't have a gold digger. You know.
Yes. Who's going to read this next one? All right, I'll do it. Why not? I don't even remember which one it is. That face mask looks good on you. You know, covering the shit. So anyway, yeah, I added the part at the end. I had to.
With that, I think what sucks is I think that it honestly sounds genuine. They just don't know that it's not going to work. Like I think they probably meant something genuine there. Halloween, it's a it's a fun mask. That looks good on you. But
look at Ronnie's picture. Sorry,
but it's one of those things where like you don't hear it before you say it, and then you say it, and then you're like, oh, okay, that didn't work out like I thought it would.
I mean, God, you can catfish everybody now. Like it's not fair game because, you know, they're like great looking here and they're great looking here. And then when you're like, hey, and they take their mask off and you see that there's no teeth, what do you do? Like,
right.
I feel
you go to Bakersfield, but here in LA, I don't know.
I feel the exact same way about girls who wear oversized sunglasses. Oversized sunglasses, they take them off, you go, oh, the rest of it didn't match. Put that back on. So.
What does Shawna, what do you think about that? The face mask looks good on you. What do you think about that?
Oh, you mean for the masks that we're wearing out in the pandemic?
Oh yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, that N95 looks great on you. Kind of.
You know what? I mean, I don't know anybody who has said that because I don't think anybody like coming within 6 feet away from me is going to get a Lysol like spray.
Lysol and the lighter. Psh, okay.
Yeah.
No, the face mask thing like reminds me of doctors, and apparently I have a thing for doctors. So I'm like, you know what? You look really, really hot. I don't know what you do for a living, but it looks like you know what you do for a living. So I'm like, hey, boo.
To the flip side of it, I think the other thing that's interesting is masks are becoming more fashionable. Like there's a whole industry of people who are making like cool masks with like, you know, glitzy stuff. You know, obviously masks are now being used to caption, you know, Vote and John Lewis. And like even at Target, they've got like nice prints and all over Instagram. So it's kind of like, on the one hand, if you're referring to a Halloween mask, it's a problem. On the other hand, masks are kind of becoming like I hate to say it, like a fashion statement. Like it's like, because I literally found myself in Target like, okay, do I want the gingham plaid or do I want the springtime flowers? Like I was literally there trying to decide, or is the all navy? Maybe that chambray works. Like trying to find a cute mask. So in the end, if you're talking about like a Halloween mask, yeah, that's not going to work. But then in this, you know, pandemic kind of, I hate to say it, like even, you know, God help us, it's cool. People are using like all the African prints to make masks. So like there's this whole kind of mask fashion movement that's happening, and maybe the mask looks good on you because it matches your shirt. I don't know.
And I gotta say, Ronnie, who said I look great in a mask. Ronnie, I prefer the mask off, baby.
Okay.
And then Ed asked this question: how do you guys feel about the term being used right now, smiling eyes? People get freaked out when they see the teeth.
Well, yeah, because your mask's not on if I can see your teeth. Holy shit.
I'm talking about the teeth in the eyes. Was that too hot?
Oh.
Okay, fine. Fine.
But I'm gonna give it up to people that are using hippo suits and shark suits as their mask for their full body. Like, I would do that if I had one, so nobody can see the weight that I've gained. Okay, I'm loving this pandemic. Okay, nobody can see me. I can go put on a suit, and everybody's gonna think I'm cute and adorable. But in reality, I'm just hiding the 10 pounds that I've gained.
All right, who's reading this next one?
You know what? Someone just was that a safe comment, Stefan, that you just pulled up, or was it not safe?
He's just wondering if you met somebody and you're gonna handle business. What do you do if you find out that they have COVID?
That's okay. I was thinking it was a mask comment, but that's actually an interesting. I think that's something that we should. Who made that comment? Honestly, who made that?
That's Nick. That's Nick, my cousin.
Nick, you know what?
Yeah.
Nick, I think we should. You join us every week, so Nick, we're gonna actually discuss that comment. I think that's a good question. What do you guys think? I think that's a good one to like literally table and like for the dating. Like, what do you do? She's hot, but then she's got COVID. Like, yeah, I think we want to.
Rush to the ER
luckily, some of us can handle business 6 feet away. Just kidding.
Wow, what are you, an elephant?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Holy God, you're safe over there. I got you.
Once again, not true. Just like the Rasputin joke from last week. So
I will tell you this: my Tinder profile has a bunch of doctors in it, so I'm guessing a lot of people aren't dating them right now. So, if you guys want a doctor, I would go on Tinder. Which apparently I got verified on. I can't get verified on Instagram, but I can get verified on Tinder.
Okay, that's funny.
What's the next one? Let's go. I'll read.
All right, you're gonna read this. You gonna read this one? Go.
This dress hides your fat very well.
Well, if you're married and say that, you're definitely sleeping on the couch. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and that's to me, that's only something married people could say. Like anybody else would get socked.
Yeah. Honey, no one can tell you've had 3 kids. Anyway,
Shawna, if you were dating somebody and a guy said that, I mean, would that be? I mean, how would that? I mean,
well, I mean, that's just rude, okay? First of all, for anybody to say that to you. I mean, and second, I would probably smack him, and then that'd be like deal breaker because, that's like, I don't know, that's kind of a form of abuse depending on how it's said. It's like,
I
don't know. Or then I just, make him suffer too by like saying something nasty back.
I think the only way this I think the only way this is not an insult if it's Tyler Durden saying it is you're trying to get away from the fat factory to make soap. It's like, oh, that hides the fat really well. So you just put the fat inside the dress and you run out of the factory. Come on, people who love Fight Club, let's go.
Okay, so I think this could work. If you're with like good friends, you can totally get away with it. Like if my best friend, my gay best friend, or a female friend were to tell me this, I would take that as a compliment. No, in any way. But if a guy told me that, I'm gonna be like in the corner crying.
Well, you're not getting lucky. That's the no lucky friend zone shit right there, man. Just saying.
But that makes total sense, Stacey. Like, because if your girl is telling you that, she's trying to support you and lift you up. But if a guy says it, it's a problem. No, I agree with you, Stacey, on that one.
That's like I'm gonna go to the bathroom and then you don't come back.
All right, who's reading this next one?
Is this our last one, or we have more?
Nope, we got 2 more. It's not a 2 more.
I can do it. It's not a 2 more.
Okay, do it in an Arnold voice. Just do it anyway.
I don't care what they say about you. You're all right.
Yes, that was almost French though, Stefan. I don't care what they say about you. That's right. That one of my favorite passive aggressive ones is no matter what anybody else says, I like you. So it's one of those kind of things, just you could say it many different ways. So it's kind of poetry for assholes. Yeah.
What are they saying about me?
Right. It's a bait. It's just a bait. That's what's funky about it.
It does sound like something from Mean Girls, does it? It does, yes. Same with the last one. And I guess I'll read this one real quick here. Let's see. I wasn't expecting your baby to be so cute.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's no level on which that Yeah, that's absolutely wicked.
Yeah,
Like,
that person's not going to the baby shower.
not going to the first birthday because the baby's already here, so they're not going. They're not going to be there for the first.
Come on. Okay, I'm one of those people. Like, well, I mean, I won't tell you to your face, but I'm thinking it. Like,
right.
Come on. Let's be real. Birthing process is a disgusting process that causes pressure to the face. Y'all get ugly babies because you're intact very well, and I don't know. I mean, how many babies are really cute when they're born? They're usually swollen and they
Not
look
a lot.
Cone heads. They got cones for heads sometimes.
Stacey,
Cones.
let me just say this. I don't know if Shawna's the mother, but I'll just say this. Once you've had a baby, let's talk about it, because all of us know that our babies are cute. It doesn't matter. We understand that they all have. That's just a fact. As the mother on here, I think I'm the only mother. Like, we all know. Like, you can't tell me that Ali wasn't gorgeous from the time that he got here. He had this head full of hair. Now, so it's. I think even so, people who think this, I agree with your other point. This is not what you should say, because all of us as mothers, you've labored hard, whether you had a cesarean or whether you had vaginal, whether you were in labor for 3 hours, 5 hours, 24. The baby is cute in our eyes. It doesn't matter what you people think. So I just, so all of us are convinced that we've had a wonderful angel from heaven and looks like an angel from heaven. We're convinced.
That's all your hard work. And that's why I'm like, morally, I know the way that I'm thinking is wrong, but let's face it. If the person that you're next to has a massive ass zit in their face, you're like, ooh, it does not look good. It's our automatic instinct to say, it's not as cute as it should be. Again, very wrong. I should not be thinking this. I'm so sorry.
Well, I think I could, double up on what Dana said. I remember my wife going through labor for the 14 hours with our first baby. Our first baby born sunny side up, which means upside down. So she did that natural.
Wow.
And I was with her the whole time, holding her hand. The baby comes out. They put it over here. I go, honey, I'm over here now. Bye. My baby's over there. And she's like, it's okay. I wish I could get up. She's a trooper. Second kid, 2 hours of labor, done. Yeah.
Wow.
And so she was happy about that. She's like, good, not that 14-hour shit again.
Right.
But it's it's true. You see your baby for the first time and you go, Betty had the cone head. She had, they're crying, and then later on you're kind of like, could you not cry so much later? But but in the first day you're like, oh, it's my baby.
And also know that the cone head is for vaginal natural. Some of us, they just cut it out, and so it was, we didn't have all of that going. So there's just all these things. But yeah, it's that's an interesting one.
I wouldn't say vaginal natural. She had the epidural. Of course, she had the epidural.
What I'm
both
saying
times.
is whether the difference between a cesarean and whether it comes out through the canal. That's all. That's how the baby's head becomes the cone, because they gotta travel. Bless their hearts, they gotta travel. Bless their hearts.
Ronnie said, I even told people this dude is ugly. Takes after dad.
Yeah, he's talking about his middle child with his born. He's just I'm pretty sure Ronnie, though, grew into the face, all cute as heck.
Shawna, do you have a family?
You mean like kids? No.
Yes.
No kids. Oh, okay.
No kids.
So you still have your freedom.
So the cone and vaginal conversation is like, ooh.
I got you. Do you will you be starting a family, or like? Cause some people are like, not me.
I don't think so. I don't think anytime soon. I mean, I'm kind of like, having to take care of myself now,
Amen. Love that.
Yeah.
I let my kids take care of me now. So, I mean, they're 8 and 10, but, they got busy. They got jobs that I gave them.
Well, nowadays, like, before you used to have like 8, 10, 12 kids to man the farm and take care of,
Right.
like you needed that whole team, right?
Right.
But now it's like you can't expect your your children to take care of you when you get old.
Right.
Well,
And some people need 8 to 10 kids just to help them with the circus. So
Exactly. A
Well,
tribe.
even having one is tough. I can't imagine anyone having more than two. I mean, power to them, and they're warriors, because my older brother loved them to death, and I love all his kids. He has 7 kids, so I mean, it takes someone real special to be able to handle that and to survive that, if you will, or come out on the other side.
Right.
Like I said before, if I have kids, and I'm going to drug the hell out of myself during the labor process. Like, I want to wake up maybe a year after on his first birthday or her first birthday. Okay. I'm just drug me. Just drug me. I will tell whoever I need to be like, nurse, I don't want to remember until next week. Please. I'll get it out if I have to. No.
That is hilarious.
William Davis said that kids is how you get your own band, and then Nick Craft Crew says Joe Jackson.
Right. That's when I saw that. I was like, well, that's the Jackson 5. We know it. The Jackson 5, the Silvers, all these great.
Sing better.
Oh my gosh.
And why, that's an interesting thing. In a few days, we're coming up on, the anniversary of MJ's, we're not anniversary, sorry, birth. His birthday is coming.
Yeah.
And we all, we still celebrate. Like, we're still, we are August 29th. Like, I was one of those kids who was a huge fan. I feel like I've known MJ's birthday, like, all my life, because it was just a big deal to know. And, like, all the DJs are gearing up. And even DJ D Nice on Club Quarantine had a set the other night where he played Aaliyah and he played MJ, because Aaliyah died in the plane crash 19 years ago. Literally, the night that happened was the night I found out I was pregnant with Ali. Like, I literally took my pregnancy test, found out I was pregnant, and then I sat down on my couch. And at the time I was working, and I think I was still working in post-production, but I worked in music right before, and people start calling me like, hey, did you hear? And we didn't have, it was, what year was that? Jesus Christ, 2001. So we didn't have the speed of what Google is doing now. So there was no way to look it up. There was no way to, calls just started coming in. Like, did you hear that Hype and, like all this stuff. So anyway, 25th was that day. And I had just been at a party and, saw her like a month before. But anyway, so all these things are coming up in terms of the Joe Jackson. We're coming up on Michael Jackson's birthday. Just a busy,
That's interesting that we brought that up, because my first concert when I was young, and my mom got me like this little Velcro wallet, like burgundy. That my first concert was Michael Jackson and the Supremes.
Wow.
It was my very first concert.
Wow.
Oh yeah. You're old.
Your first one's Michael Jackson. Mine was Ozzy Osbourne. No more tours, and he came back.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a liar though. He's a liar.
He's a liar. No, it's just someone's like, hey Ozzy, you still need drugs? Yeah, I still need drugs. Okay, how about $3 million to do world tour? Yeah, $3 million. That will pay for drugs.
Wow.
And then
we are coming to the close of another incredible episode. Wow.
Aaliyah though, when she died, she just got done not long after that, like making Queen of the Damned. So
right. That was Queen of the Damned as well. Even though she never got to shoot, she was going to be in the Matrix. She was going to be in that last installment of the Matrix. And I think that was, I saw Queen of the Damned, very interesting, but I was so excited about her having a role in the Matrix and the Matrix films. And so it was, and I had worked for an agency that represented her hair people and her makeup people. So two of the, I feel like I don't want to go to the dark topic, but like 2 of the hair guys on that plane, I knew them. I had worked with them the year before, and it was just crazy. And they were there because her normal hair guy was on tour with Macy Gray. Her wardrobe stylist just didn't get on the plane. Like, he was there, he'd been down there, but he didn't get on the plane. Like, it was just, such a rough time in industry. And her album had just come out. So we had all been right at the Argyle on Sunset partying together, everybody, we were having a great time. And then for that to happen.
And then William Davis, he put a comment there that, you got to remember, take care of your kids, because you don't want them to turn into the Menendez brothers.
No.
Yeah. Right. Love your kids. Because if you don't, they're going to love you.
But please don't. Okay, just don't love him so much, you know, like Mama's Boys type situation. Like,
You gonna make fun of Mama's Boys right now, man? In
Oh
front
my
of me?
God, I love, like, I know we've got 3
Just
minutes.
kidding.
Did everybody see Nick's comment? This is fantastic. He says, my daughter and I used to have MJ Fridays every Friday a.m. driving my baby girl to school.
Yep.
Even got pulled over for dancing to Thriller on back on Halloween morning, and cop let me go. Thank you, Pomona PD, for being chilled. I think that's one of the, Nick, thank you for that. That's one of the best stories I've heard all day. Like, right.
Yeah,
And
and
Ronnie, I miss the fuck out of MJ too. I agree, Ronnie. I agree.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if my cousin Nick still has that Moonwalker VHS that I gave him to show her. You know, the moon. I mean, I don't know who still has a VHS player, but I used to watch the hell out of Moonwalker with
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
Pesci. Joe Pesci.
Video game was amazing too.
Oh yeah, that was really good video game
used to
actually.
play that in the arcade and on Sega Genesis. But I will say this, because I know we're going to be wrapping up here shortly. It is a tradition in my house. In October, we watch one horror movie or two every night until Halloween, and then the second one is, and my daughter either remembers or doesn't, but Thriller is played and watched every Halloween without exception, because that is the absolute. I'm not only a huge Michael Jackson fan, but John Landis, who directed it,
Right.
you know, he did. I met him actually at a HorrorCon. He signed my American Werewolf in London
Nice.
DVD, and I got lucky that same day because they had the Masters of Horror panel, and I also got to meet Joe Dante, and a few other people too. All sweethearts, very nice, very down to earth. And I asked him about what it was like to work with Michael Jackson, because that's how dear I mean, you know, even though I'm into metal, the Thriller video to me is the most metal video that was ever made. I mean,
It's the best.
Well, and Stefan, I kind of get in the mood for Halloween the same way. Instead of watching horror movies, what I do is I actually watch the Hallmark Channel with my wife, and then keep asking her, do they ever actually have sex, or is they just flirt the whole time?
That's horror.
Scares the living shit out of me. Scares me to death.
With 1 minute left, Ronnie says Thriller, same here. You guys, when MTV premiered that video, the day that it came out, because we were obviously living in a different moment, they played that video. It was a 15-minute, as you know, 15-minute video. They played the video at the top of every hour the whole day. And literally all of my high school friends, all of us were on the phone. Like, did you see it? Did you, like, it was a huge, I mean, and obviously it stands up today. So anyway, you guys, we want to
music videos.
Say that
and
again.
To get Vincent Price.
Yes.
Record that
Oh,
video
the
was, like,
yes.
so classic.
Yes.
It was like the best. Before
Tell
he
it, Shawna.
passed, you know, it was just
Right.
like cult classic, like right there. It was the icing on
Oh,
the cake
yeah.
for all the horror fans out there.
Oh yeah, Vincent Price was and still is the man, dude.
The
Was it
man.
Mask of the Red Death? He has a lot of Pit and the Pendulum. He has a lot of
The
Wow.
Raven. Mhm.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Such an icon of horror. Shawna, thank you for hanging with us until the very end. Just thank you again for coming on the
Thank you so
broadcast.
much for having me. Have a great week. Stay safe. Same.
We will. You too.
Hey, and thanks to all our commenters. You know,
Amazing.
thanks
Our
to our
guests.
regulars. We would call you up by name again, but we're, you know, there's just so much time.
I want to show.
But we're gonna
something
see you
really
next
fast.
week. Oh,
Real
show
fast.
Wait.
So right
Yes,
now,
there it
there
is.
we
You
go.
guys go- Yep, that's what I was looking for.
Go to
Oh.
Amazon and get this book right now. If you know someone in your life that's going through some
Right.
trauma, or you know, going through a similar experience, please go to Amazon and get this book right now.
When is it? It's out now, right? Shawna?
Paperback is out now. Pre-orders for Kindle.
Okay. All right, you guys got that. You can get it now. Awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Shawna, for joining us.
Bye.
Bye bye. Everybody have a great night.
Bye, Shawna.
Bye.
I'll see y'all.